All right, ladies and gentlemen, the mic is hot is back. I'm Dennis Thomas. My co-host, Big Time, is on standby. Say hello, Big Time.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
All righty, we're gonna break this thing down. Let me open this thing up. Let you guys know I'm a little pissed off, Big Time. I don't know about you, but I'm a little pissed off. We ain't been on the air now in I think about 6-7 weeks, and why is pretty much my fault. I've been on the road with the excuse me, play-by-play with the high school stuff. So, but we back now. We back. And but since we've been gone, your team, my team, the Atlanta Falcons, has let us down. They have not only let us down, they have let the whole community down. Matter of fact, they down so much that they only won one ball game. What the heck is going on, Big Time? What the heck is going on?
Oh my Lord! Go ahead.
I just don't understand, and the reason I came on the mic today is I want to get some understanding. Like Candace said, we need some understanding because they getting ready to face one of the toughest games of the season. The rival goes back years. More people live here in Atlanta from New Orleans than live in New Orleans. More fans, I should say. And we see them every day. We work with them every day. And we got to hear them talk every day. I'm sick and tired. I said I'm sick and tired of listening to those Saints fans bragging about why they're a better team than the Atlanta Falcons. They live here. They pay taxes here. Their kids go to school here. We got to put a stop to this, Big Time. We got to put a stop to this today. But I think there might be a solution. As we looked over the schedule earlier, you pointed out some things to me that showed me that there is light at the other end of the tunnel. But the main thing is, can the Falcons follow that light? Can they get there? I don't know. I got to turn it over to my man, Big Time. Big Time, help me.
Oh, my goodness.
Help me with these Falcons, buddy. 1-7. What the heck is going on?
Man, ladies and gentlemen, D, I don't know what has happened. Man, I'm so wired up. This has been one of the most depressing seasons that I have ever experienced as a Falcon fan. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you know, after the Super Bowl loss back in 2016, the season still wasn't as depressing as that loss was, because we had a good season. We made it to the Super Bowl. We just lost that game.
Uh-huh.
And I even know I still left that season with a sour taste in my mouth. It wasn't as bad as what I've experienced in this whole season. For the first half of this season. This is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm lost for words.
You got people, Big Time. You got people that has season tickets to the Mercedes-Benz. It's just giving tickets away. People outside the Benz say, "I'm not going to another game." And what feared me most of all is that when New Orleans come here on Thanksgiving night, that stadium is going to be full of Saints fans. I'm afraid of that, Eddie. I'm afraid of that because I know what's going to happen. Just like they didn't want us coming to New Orleans the year we supposed to went to the Super Bowl, we don't want them coming here. What say you, Big Time?
It's sad, man. I'm lost for words. I hear you talk. We can go round and round for a long time about how sad and how disappointing this season has been. I just don't know, man. And our expectations were so high for this year. We both, as the record will reflect on the last Mike show, that we had pretty good numbers for this team. I know I had 12-4. I think you were 10-6 or 11-5. You were a game under me, or
10-6
games under me. 10-6, which still is a high number. And here we are. There is no way, even with that low number, we can make 10 at this point.
No.
With only 8 games left, the best we can finish would be 8-8. the best we can finish. We've lost 7 games. We got 8 more to go.
But do we still have a chance to make the playoffs big time? Can we still get in the playoffs? Is there any mathematical way that we can make the playoffs?
Well, I looked at it in every angle. I don't know. The question is the answer to that question is yes. Mathematically, we are not out of the playoff because here's the thing. The only way we're going to make the playoff right now is that we got to win the division. That's the only way. We couldn't make it in as a wild card because looking at the schedule, there are a lot of you got the division winners right now is if the season were to end today, the division winners would be besides our division. Let's exclude our division. Let's say you got Dallas leading their division. You have the Seattle leading their division, and you have who else would lead their division? Those are the only 2 other divisions. You got Seattle and Dallas, and but we could not win the division except we won the make the playoff unless we won the division.
I got you. So basically what you're saying,
right now.
The good thing about this schedule already is that all of our division game, well, we have not played any division game as of yet. So we're yet to play a division game, and New Orleans will be the first game we will play in New Orleans. Following that game, we got Carolina, then we got Tampa, then we got New Orleans again, then we got Carolina. Again, after that, we got San Francisco, Jacksonville, then we've got Tampa. So all of our remaining games are division game with the exception of 2, and that's Carolina and San Francisco. So basically, if we win all our division games, we have a chance. But it's unlikely. I'm looking at some stat here now saying that our chance of beating New Orleans is we have a 22% chance of beating New Orleans. That's very low. That's very low. And
very low.
I mean, we talked last week. Now I talked last week. You mostly all last week, and we talked a little bit this week. I want to know. Well, we talked earlier this week. It's just the end of the week. I'm sorry. Sound like when I talked to you earlier today, you had some changes in your mind. You had a little. Tell me how you feel about the Falcons in this ball game. I need you to come with it, big guy. You dragging your feet on me, baby.
Huh? Let me clear this up about where we can go, and then because I have the schedule. I mean, not the schedule. I have the standings in front of me now. The NFC. You got the top leaders is in you got the 49ers, the Packers, and the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, these are the division winners. All right, I excluded. I didn't include the Atlanta division because if we win that division, which we still have a chance to win that division because we got 6. We have not played a single division game. We have 6 chances to go beat each one of these teams. So if we were to beat each one of these teams and we lead the division, then we will be the division winners, which will put us in the playoff as a division team.
Right.
We'll be ranked number 4 in the division in terms of the playoff ranking.
Right.
But we will still be in the playoff by virtue of a division winner.
So
now we couldn't do it with wild card because right now you got to look at potential wild cards. The Eagles, the Seattle Seahawks, Minnesota Vikings, and the Carolina Panthers, and the Rams. The Rams is in there as well, even though the Rams is in the Rams. So you got all of these are potential wild cards: the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Vikings, and the Panthers. So you could imagine because there are more teams in that mix right there, the chances are we won't be a wild card because already, for example, the Seattle team has already 7 wins. And they can get, you could assume that over their next 8 games or 7 games, they can win at least 2 games, which will still put them at a better record than us, even if we win all our remaining games.
Right.
So a wild card chances out. The only way we win division is we got to beat everybody in the division. So which leads me to this point. I do not believe that we have a chance in hell at beating every one of the teams in our division.
Hey. And it has not been done in history. I mean, from what my understanding, that no team with a 1-7 record has ever came back and made the playoffs.
Oh, my God.
Am I correct on that? Am I correct on that?
I can't confirm it, but it sounds pretty accurate.
I listen to one of these other talk radios. I got to give them credit. The FM station in Atlanta, 92.9, I think it is. They were saying that no team in history has went 1-7 and came back and made the playoff. So
yeah.
I'm just now. We clear on that right now.
Yes, we clear on that. Their chances is that they got to win their division, and we do agree. Am I correct? That we agree that the Falcons probably would not win every single division game the remaining of the year.
Correct. But there's a but in there. I do believe, and I tell you this week, and I think a lot of people might disagree with me. For number one, as much as I talk about the Falcons, I'm still a Falcon fan. I still love my Falcons. I'm still going to support them. I'm still going to watch them. I might not go to the game, but I'm going to watch them on TV. I'm going to watch the Falcons and pull for them to win. I just hope that this last 2 weeks the Falcons have been off, that Dan Quinn, Dimitroff, and his offensive and his staff has put together a game plan that we can possibly, I say possibly, go down to New Orleans and beat these boys. Now, I'm not going to be upset if we don't win. If we lose this game by a field goal or a touchdown at the last minute of the ball game, that gives me hope. That gives me hope. And that hope means that we play, and 3 weeks later we play them again here in Atlanta. I would much rather win the game in Atlanta than to win. If I had to lose one, I would much rather lose the one in New Orleans than the one in Atlanta. As long as they come home in 2 weeks and beats the Saints here in Atlanta, I'm okay with that. And a lot of people feel the same way about that because that's Thanksgiving. That's when the whole nation is watching. New Orleans right now, I don't care what their record is by then. Right now, what they 7-1. You know, they could be 9-1 by that time. I don't care. I just want to beat them. If we split with the Saints, if we split with Tampa, I mean, well, I know it sounds crazy, man, but we got to get somebody this season. And Dan Quinn jobs depends on this, and I'm hoping Dimitroff job depends on this. Those guys been scrambling, and I'm gonna let you in a minute. Let you tell me what you've seen from the Falcons camp so far, what they're trying to do to make it better. But they've been scrambling to try to put something together so that we can go out and turn this thing around in the second half of the season. Now, I know it's a little late for that. Maybe we should have did it early in the season, but they've had 2 weeks to go out and show the fans. So they right now, like I said earlier, you got fan base that's not even going to the game. You got people that's bought season tickets that's not even going to the game. Arthur Blank I shouldn't say. Let me slow down. I'm getting a little fast. I'm getting a little hype. I need some water right now. I didn't bring any with me. We're losing fan base. I'm not saying totally lost a fan base, but for this season, people are not going to the game. People are not. Some people. I heard of a statistic saying that they're watching it on TV, but they're not coming to the game. So they are watching the Falcons. But what do you think, or what did you see this week that told you that the Falcons is trying to make some adjustments for the upcoming season?
Well, let me touch on quickly, add on to what you already just said about the tickets and the fan base. I think the fan base is totally behind the team, but from afar. They're not going down to that stadium. I've heard reports that the tickets now is as low as $20. I also heard earlier this week where a radio station was literally giving away up to 20 tickets. Certain callers call in. It's a real sad situation downtown. The Falcons fans have basically said, we're done this year. We're going to see what you do. Having said that, D, I just don't believe no matter what the Falcons do at this point, meaning in these 2 weeks that they've been out, it's going to make a difference in what they're going to do the next.
What have you heard, Big Time? What have you heard they're doing?
Well, the thing I've heard they're doing and I've been reading is that the Falcons shook up the coaching staff.
Okay.
What Dan Quinn essentially did was change the coaching, put them in different coaching positions.
That's a start.
For example, the Raheem, he was I just remember what his title was before, but he is now the defensive backfield coach.
Uh-huh.
He moved 2 other coaches to different positions, meaning these guys are going to call these plays in the game or make moves, and I'm assuming the impact will be more in practice than it will be in the game.
Uh-huh.
But I don't see that this going to make a difference, and that's the first thing. The second thing, why wasn't it done earlier? You know, there needed to be some shakeup here from the beginning. Even if you didn't put it in the media, it needed to be shakeup. Ladies and gentlemen, what I saw the last 7 weeks of this season was the same thing, and that is the Falcons getting blown out. I don't give a dang about how many games they were coming back in, and they had a chance at win in the end. They were getting beat down from start to halftime. In every single game the Falcons played this year, they have came from behind. They have literally not led but one game this year, and that was in the game that they won. And I remind you all, they came from behind in that game to win on a touchdown by Julio Jones in the waning seconds of that game. What am I to expect any different when I saw you for 8 weeks go out there and get killed, particularly on the defense side of the ball? We have allowed 35 points a game in the first 8 games of this season. That's what our defense has done. When your defense can't get the offense off the field, the opposing offense off the field, you then have to you shorten the number of the offensive plays you can run because you're not out there. And number 2, you have to change your offensive approach because you now are playing from behind. So the Falcons offense have been unbalanced all season because of that situation. And why do I can expect anything different? Why should I, D? Why should I? I heard you say we got the same players, we got the same coaches. Well, we don't have the same coaches. We got the same players, but we got the same head coach. Why can't these guys do what they did in the past?
Let me give you some team stats I just looked up. And I heard you say 35 points. I'm looking at my stats show a little different. I have points per game. The Falcons has scored an average of 20.6 points per game. The Saints has scored 24.4 points per game. Points allowed. Let me run them down because I'm trying to paint a picture for you. The points allowed per game. The Falcons allowed 31 points per game. The Saints have allowed 19.5. Total yards, the Falcons have, total 405 yards. Saints have 387. Passing yards are 333. The Saints 272. Of course, rushing yard was a lot more. Falcon was 68, and the Saints was 114. The Falcons allowed 266 points. The Saints allowed 253. Rushing yards was 118. These are allowed. This is what we allowed our team, and the Saints allowed 84. Now, these stats are not a long ways off, especially with the points per ball game. We averaging 20.6 points per ball game, and the Saints averaging 24.6 per ball game. And if you think about it, the last ball game we played against what was that team? Seattle. We only lost by a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, see,
now hold on. I'm making a point. I'm making a point here. I hear what you're saying, and I want Falcon fans to understand this. This game is not impossible to win. There's a few things that have to happen on defense. We're putting points up on the board. We're just not really stopping people. A couple of stops, you'd be surprised what difference is making a ball game. I don't care if Drew Brees is back or not. This is a rival game, guys. Don't forget this is a rival game. Every year the Falcons play the same. It ain't no pushover game. I don't care what the record is for one team or the other team. This game is going to be a good game to watch. So I'll advise everybody out there to listen in and see what's going to happen in this ball game. We're not, again, I say we are putting points on the board. Compared to New Orleans, they only put 4 points more on the board, average 4 points more than we do per ball game. We just got to stop some people. Go ahead.
you know, and I'm amazed by what you just told me. I didn't look at it that way. I can compare it to this game. I compared them to the overall team that they've played. But here's still what I knew and what is standing out strongly in my point. The Falcons are putting up how many points you said per game?
20.6.
20.6 a game. Just said a team. You compared it to a team that's only lost one game. That's the Saints.
Right.
The Saints only putting up 4 more points than them.
I'll tell you what to fact check me. If anybody want to fact check me, go to ESPN. I'm at the ESPN website and I'm looking at stats from both teams. So
what that tells me is it ain't the offense.
It ain't the offense.
It ain't the offense. Now you can go in there and break it down and say, okay, big plays and how many of those points were touchdowns. At the end of the game, the points average out, and that's what we got to base it on.
Yep.
The Falcons are scoring points. Now, one can argue that the points that we are getting in the game that we have played has come through into the game when the other team perhaps have went into a prevent defense and maybe playing zone, and the guys deep down are essentially giving up because they'll beat that team. But you still got to average the points out. So when you look at the point, another stat you threw out that was something to view. The defense. We've allowed how many points a game?
Rushing or passing?
Just
we allowed 31.3 points a game, and New Orleans allowed 19.5.
That's the major difference. That's the difference.
That's the
right
difference.
there.
That's the difference. We said that.
Because you're talking a difference right there of about 12 points. That's a lot of points. What our defense is giving up, there's most team, if you look at the game that they lost, you went through each game that they lost and compare that same thing that you compared to New Orleans, you will find a glaring notary in the same area, that is the points that we have allowed. The points we have allowed to compare to them teams that we've lost to, has the biggest discrepancy has come in the point we allowed. What am I saying? Ladies and gentlemen, the problem with this team so far this year has been the defense.
It's obvious. It's obvious.
It has been the defense.
We've always known that.
You can talk about Matt Ryan. You can talk about how good Julio is. You can talk about this, that, and the third. We have failed to stop people.
Well, Eddie, you got to keep in mind also the defense is in the problem. But it's a team effort overall. Don't just stick a needle in the defense. Now remember, kicking field goals is part of offense. We've missed 4 or 5 field goals this year. I mean, ball games, we have thrown interceptions. So it's a lot of things that plays a factor in losing the ball game, not just the defense. Defense played a lot better the last game against Seattle, and we lost the ball game. But we also missed 2 field goals, and we fumbled the ball. The offense fumbled the ball at the 5-yard line. So it's defense, but that's not the only factor. I'm not gonna let you sit here and say the defense is the only problem. It's not.
But if we playing with numbers, I wish you could do this while we here. But it probably will be time-consuming. If you compare the points that we allow, let's just use New Orleans as an example. I'm going to tell you something right here. The difference between the points they have allowed and the points we allow has been what? 12. You said 19 to them 31. That's actually right, 12 points.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay? D, they have scored only average 7 points more than us. Okay?
Uh-huh.
All right. If you put that 7 on our offense, then we still ain't scoring enough that would have beat them because they've averaged, how many points they've averaged per game?
Points average per game, 24.4.
And we've averaged 19.
No, 20.6.
Well, if you put 7 on that, we will be beating them. But the difference in the difference of the number of points that we have allowed, if we took them same 7 points and added it to the 21, we still would have lost our team. We still would have lost, D, because the offense, you say right now, I'm going to put it a different way. If the Falcons had averaged 31 points a game this year, they still would have lost some games. They still wouldn't be over 500. Look at the numbers. They still wouldn't be over 500. I'm putting up 31 is a lot, D. 31 points is a lot.
There is a lot, Eddie. It is a lot. Well, what I'm saying is,
So why you putting it on the offense like the offense got to do more?
No. I put it on the team. I didn't put it on offense. It's a team effort. It's a team effort.
But I understand that. But bottom line is, we breaking down. I know it's a team effort. That's why. This is what leads to my point. We both agree with that. You know what leads to my point then? If this team is where they are and they are where they are, it's mainly in the major part of it because you got the same amount of players. It's not the same amount, the same players that were there, the core players and the players with the ability to play. But where's the problem lead at? It's either one or two areas or both. The players are not recognizing and listening to the coach, or the coach is not doing the job. It's either one or two or both. The players are not following through what they're supposed to do.
Combined effort.
Here's what we can look at and say what the players are not following through and what they're supposed to do. If they're holding, if they're doing a lot of penalties, which they're not doing as they were before, if they're just busted plays, I don't see that. Yeah, we can look at Freeman fumbling the ball. We can look at a missed field goal. These things are going to happen. They happen to all teams. But this team still were in games. When you look at that score, if you look at those total points, it got to come down to the head coach. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Quinn got to go. If it was left up to me, I'd have fired him already.
Yes, sir.
I'd have shook up this coaching staff after early in the year. I'd have ran him out of here, pay him what you're going to pay him the rest of the year, and bought Raheem or Cutter or someone else up as a head coach. Dan Quinn got to go. He got to go. And he should have been gone. I don't know what Arthur Blank waiting on.
And I agree. And that's my point. That's my point about when you look at those stats that we talked about. If the defense, we got the same players, most of the same players that went to the Super Bowl. We got good defensive players. These guys are not sorry. They've proven themselves year after year. But when I watch the Falcons defense on the field, they look confused. You got guys who are all running to one side of the field, and a receiver running wide open on the left side of the field. And that's coaching. That's coaching. That's plays. Something I talked to you about earlier this week was a team puts together a game plan. Every game is different. The coach goes in, the coaches goes in, they scout the opponent, they look at their weaknesses and their strengths, and they put together a game plan for each player when they call them plays on offense and defense. Based on, like, for example, New Orleans got Drew Brees. He might be some of his strengths. We got to be able to stop some of his strengths. We got to get more pressure on him. We got to make sure that area is more pressure on Drew Brees is going to help. Kamari, he can run. He can catch as a receiver or whatever. So the problem is our coaches are not putting together, I think, the proper game plan for the players to execute. Because I believe last week we played Seattle, and it was a pretty decent game plan. We didn't get blown out. I think we lost by 10 points. And so I think that hopefully after the last 2 weeks of football, Kamari's been banged up. Drew Brees has been banged up. I mean, hey, look, we got to go in there and play football. I don't see this game out of reach. The odds are 13.1. Let me go back to that. What that stat is. You go ahead and talk. Let me find that stat. I found, if I'm not mistaken, it was 13.1 points over the Falcons in this ball game. Yeah, 13.1. And it's a 51 point. So when you say over and under, that means, I don't know if you might already know this, but the over and under is 51. So you're saying that you would bet the team will go over 50 between the 2 points to be more than 51 or under 51. What would you say? You think it would be over 51 or under 51?
I think it will be under 51. Here's my belief. I think the Falcons will come out in this game and play this team very well. I think the Falcons are going to keep this score decent, but I don't think the Falcons will win this game. Here's why that last statement is so important. Based on having lost, people keep in mind the Falcons won the only game of this year, the second game of the season. They have since that time lost 6 straight games. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the longest losing streak in the Falcons' history.
Woo!
They lost 6 straight games.
Well,
I say that way to say this, you all. This team need a victory. We need a victory. I don't care if they beat New Orleans by a half a point.
It's coming.
A fake point.
It's coming.
If they need a win,
it's
they
coming.
just got to go out and win. Vegas can do all the numbers they want. The Falcons got to pick a win up on Sunday because this team is losing in every phase of the game. They are losing, and it's going to get uglier after Sunday. It's not going to get any better because guess what? 3 weeks after Sunday, which is literally 3 weeks after Sunday, that same team coming up in our building on the world stage. That's called Thanksgiving night, and they're gonna drag us with a packed house, a black and gold jersey, and those people are gonna be all Saints fans. And just like you said earlier, it's gonna be very, very sad for a team that come up in here who's the number one rival against ours and beat us a second time. We got to win Sunday. We got to win. I just don't believe we can.
And we can. And we can. And we
can.
Don't believe it. In the next 3 ball games, I see 1 or 2 victories, possibly 2 victories in the next 3 Sundays.
You're a lot more optimistic than I am, Dennis. You are much more.
Hey, listen, man.
What makes you think it? What makes you think? What makes you think is what you think? And I'll give you my response to why I don't think they will. What makes you think?
Because number one, I looked at the last ball game we played. It was a positive ball game. We lost by 10 points. Of course, we had already spoken about how much of the problem, we agreed that most of the problem came from the defense. But this past Sunday, the defense held the team. We had a fumble at the 5-yard line, and we missed 2 field goals in the ball game, which either one field goal would have caused us to win the ball game. That's one of the reasons. Number 2, I think we're moving in the right direction. Number 2, Dan Quinn is shaking up his coaching staff. I didn't never like from day one when he decided to become the defense coordinator. Who made that decision? He did on his own. That was crazy. Hopefully he's come to his senses. That's not the only move that he decided to do, but we need to make some change on that defense. We need to pull Vic Beasley. I want to say a curse word. I didn't say it, though. Pull him to the sideline and put somebody in there. I don't care if you have to keep changing players in and out. Put somebody in there that they don't have on tape and to rush that quarterback so we get pressure on Drew Brees. I believe if we can get some pressure on Drew Brees in this ball game, we're going to have a heck of a ball game, bro. I think we're going to have a heck of a ball game. We can't let him sit in that pocket all day long and throw the ball around. I think regardless of how good Kamari is, he can't. If Drew Brees got pressure on him, he can't get the ball to Kamari. We got to blitz, or we got to put somebody in that defensive end position, or somebody to blitz up the middle to put pressure on Drew Brees. That's my thought. And I think if we do that, we can do that. But will we do that? I don't know. But we can do it. If we do that, I think you might see a difference in this ballgame. No guarantee we're going to win. I hope we win. We got a good chance of winning. But if we come out of this ballgame with losing by a touchdown, hey, I think most people will be okay with that. As long as you don't get blowed out. You go in there and get blowed out, it's done. It's done.
Well,
I haven't stuck a fork in it yet. I'm sorry. I'm not like most people. I have not stuck a fork in this team because I'm a Falcon fan, first of all. If you're a fan of your team, you don't lose faith in it. You keep watching and you keep following. Even though I can point out some of the problems, and all year long I've been pointing out problems, going back to the first of the season. You remember what I said about the Falcons? All this junk, people not playing and not getting ready, not getting game ready. New Orleans Saints was playing everybody. 2 quarters, a whole, I'm watching them just as bad as I'm watching us. I'm like, them boys are ready. I think I told you on the phone once, I said, Eddie, I've been watching New Orleans in the preseason. Them boys are ready to play. And we out there, we sitting Matt Ryan on the bench. We sitting Julio on the bench. We sitting different players on the bench because we think the field's too wet for them to play on. Come on, man. It's football. You got to be ready to play. My 2 words I've always said, preparation and conditioning. If you don't have those 2, you ain't got no game. What say you?
Well, let me say this. It's not an indictment on the type of fan you are because you are critical of your team. The fans in Atlanta ain't blind, and they call it what they have seen. I know I am. I love the Falcons through and through. They were 0-16. I'm going to still love them. But they are a sorry team right now. They need to be broken up. And when I look at the Seattle game, yeah, they played positive toward the end, but the team was down 27-0 at halftime. You can't tell me that was a positive move and you coming back when you down 27. Psychologically, you played football. You know you give up to some extent. I played basketball. When we get a big lead on a team, there's a psychologically, most players, this is why a coach got to really coach in those type of games because guys will start to lay up and teams will come back. They were down 27-0. They wasn't coming back to win that game. It doesn't matter how this game ends Sunday. It doesn't matter how this game ends Sunday. If it doesn't end the Falcons with a victory, it's still a loss. And the Falcons are still right where they started. More victories don't do nothing for you, especially when you down like the Falcons have been this year. The Falcons got to beat this team Sunday. I don't see how they're going to do it. I just don't see how they're going to do it. Because, yes, Dan Quinn shook up the coaching staff. The same guys are on the field. And the defense is still the same. Yes, will they tell Vic Beasley and other guys who are not doing what they're supposed to, I'm going to bitch you if you don't perform? Is that going to work when the game is on? Because guess where I think the problem is going to come in the Falcons? New Orleans Saints are going to not have they're not going to show no mercy toward the Falcons. They want to beat them 50 to 30. They want to run up the score on the Falcons, and they're going to try to do it if the Falcons allow them. And the Falcons defense don't step up, Drew Brees and Sean Payton going to pick them apart. Well, the Falcons can score. Julio Jones tend to have a great game against New Orleans. Matt Ryan tend to have a good game against New Orleans. I don't think that will change Sunday. But will it be enough? Will it be enough to get them a victory? It would do nothing better for me in spite of this season than if we go out Sunday and beat the Saints. Because not only that will help me morally, it will help the rivalry be continued to our advantage. I think it will show me some signs that the shake-up this 2 weeks did help some. And maybe the Falcons can go on a road to where they say, guess what? We're not making the playoffs, but we're going to be a spoiler. We're going to hurt some teams. We're going to show some teams that, guess what? We got a chance to make your season worse than what it was. And guess what? Next year, it's got to be broken up no matter what. Guys got to go play the rest of the way because they playing for their job. Dan Quinn should coach. If not for this team, he got to coach for a future coaching job if he want to continue to coach. I just don't see them doing anything different Sunday, but playing hard and playing good. But if they don't get a victory, which I don't see is happening, it means nothing. It means not one thing to me.
Will Dan Quinn be here at the end of the season? Will he make it to the end of the season? Big time. That's for you.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I said, will Dan Quinn have a job at the end of the season, and will he make it to the end of the season? For example, if Dan Quinn loses the next 3 ball games, which are all division games, will Arthur Blank keep him on?
Well, let me
get a part 2 of that. Or if Dan Quinn goes out and beat New Orleans, beat Tampa, beats Carolina, and win, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games left. Let's say he wins 6 of the next 5 ball games. Will Dan Quinn have a job next year? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
I asked 2-part question.
Here's what my research have shown me. Well, and also what I've listened to on the media outlets. Arthur Blank has whatever reason you want to say it, a love for Dan Quinn. And it doesn't mean that he loves him such that he won't fire him at the end of this year. But I think it's pretty clear that Dan Quinn won't be fired before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It won't happen. Now, let me throw this in. I looked at the NFL standings, and there are 8 other teams. Well, besides the Falcons, there are 7 other teams that have either 1 or 2 wins. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of teams, or a total of 8, with 1 or 2 victories. You got another 5 that's only 3 victories. So, but I'm going to stick with the 1 and 2. 8 teams. The Falcons are among that 8. So why am I bringing that up? There are a lot of chances for the Falcons to improve, but if they going to think that the losses that they have incurred, and you compare it to the league, if this was going to force Dan Quinn to be fired before the year is over, I just don't believe it. In fact, Arthur Blank have already.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Did I lose you big time? I think we lost big time, and I'm sure he'll call right back. I think what he was talking about is Arthur Blank has already made a decision, from what I heard, that he will continue to let Dan Quinn finish the season out. I think he made a decision on that earlier this year, some information I heard. Let me go to a music break, and we'll come right back. We're going to hear a little bit of music right here, and we'll come right back and take it from there, all right? Big Time, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. We lost him for a minute, folks. We had to go to a quick musical break and come right back. But I think the last thing you was talking about was Dan Quinn had made a decision to do something.
Well, Dan Quinn made a decision to shake the staff up. Well, the question you were asking and what I was responding to was, will Dan Quinn be fired before the year is up, and will he be fired at the end of the year? I don't believe Dan Quinn will be fired before the year is out. Arthur Blank have said he would not. And number two, Arthur Blank have shown a love for Dan Quinn. Rightfully so, Dan Quinn has had this team, a pretty good team, in his 4 years, even though I don't think when you look at the total body of work, it's worthy of him maintaining this job after this year. I also mentioned that if you look at the teams in the league, there are 8 other teams that has 1 to 2 losses. Now, why is that important? There's a number of losing teams, and they haven't fired their coaches. The only coach that have been fired in the losing teams have been the Washington Redskins. They fired their coach already.
Uh-huh.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
They fired their coach already. Well, if the Falcons were to go 6 out of 8 or 8-0, I still think Dan Quinn should be let go. I don't know if he will, because it will further explain why Arthur Blank likes him. It would also, one can argue, that the Falcons have now got it together. But to me, I think the defense, when you look at the year, last year when the Falcons had a lot of injuries on defense, I was one of the main fans that said that was the reason we had a losing year. I recall you saying, D, that injuries was not a problem. Why am I bringing that up? That defense was poor last year.
Yeah.
When you look at it's been reported that Dan Quinn's defense wasn't as good as we thought it was in Seattle. He just had the caliber of players that the Falcons doesn't have on the defensive side of the ball. And even the game they lost the second time, in the second Super Bowl appearance, they lost to the Patriots on a questionable last call, which should have been a run. Many said it passed, but it should have been a run. The defense was poor in that Super Bowl game. My point is, Dan Quinn may not have been a great of a defensive coach as we thought he was. When you look at this defense overall, look at some of the players that he drafted.
Yeah. Not only Dimitrov drafted. Dimitrov was a big part of it as well. So I think if Dan Quinn goes, Dimitrov has to go.
Let me say this, and I'll let you respond. We were told when Dan Quinn was brought as a head coach that Dan Quinn, the final decision on the players was going to be on him. And
that's what we were told.
Here's an example of what type of coaching and players he picked. Let's look at Dick Beasley. This is a guy that we picked that had one good year after 4 years in the league. And last year when it was thought that he should have been released, Dan Quinn made a public announcement that he was going to work with this man. And look what he's done.
Exactly.
This man got to go. I don't know whether he'll be gone. Certainly don't believe he'll be gone before the season's over. I don't know whether he'll be gone when the season is over.
I would hope. I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. Unless you have another topic, we're going to wrap this thing up. Unless you want to hit on something else that I missed, I want to do a wrap up and let you have the last. I'll let you have your last word, then I'll do my last word. There's something else you want to hit on before we go there?
Well, let me say this, Steve. I'm a diehard Atlanta Falcons fan, as you know.
You ready? Hold on. You ready for your last word?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I'm playing music with it, so that's why I want to know. Okay, wrap it. Hit it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I'm a diehard Atlanta Falcons fan. Regardless of what you hear in these mic shows, I will always be a Falcon fan. I'm very critical. I'm very passionate, and I believe they have a chance to be a very good team for years to come. But it has to start after this season is over. It has to start after this season over. That is with firing Dan Quinn and this whole coaching staff. It has to start with going on this team and taking a core group of guys and said, this is what we're going to build around. And although it burns me to say this, ladies and gentlemen, hear me carefully. Matt Ryan, who is one of the leaders of this club, got to be looked at much closer and much harder. And the Falcons must start looking for the future in a quarterback.
Woo!
They got to start doing it. And I'm not saying you get rid of Matt Ryan or you demote Matt Ryan, but based on the evaluation of what this team going to do after this season is over, we got to include the future of what our QB position is because of this guy's play and because of his age. We got to break this up, people. I believe that the Falcons go out and fire Dan Quinn, fire Dimitroff, and bring in a general manager and a group of coaches and defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, get the right draft, put this team in the right playoff selection by signing the right guys. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, we got a good enough team within 2 years we can still be talking about Super Bowl. If it doesn't be done that way, we're going to be right here where we are, same way we will be.
Big time. You know what? I just got to pause on that one. I totally agree with you, and I can only enhance what you say. I'm gonna say a few things, but it's not gonna be more than what you said. But you paint a picture right there, and you hit it right on the head, folks. Atlanta, I'm gonna come this way. I'm a Falcon fan, big time a Falcon fan. We love our team, and one reason we do this show is because we do love our team, and we want to give our opinions because I believe everybody's opinion has an opinion, and no matter what your opinion is, doesn't necessarily make it right or wrong. But there's a lot of fans out there that don't have the opportunity that we have to get on the air and tell you how we feel. And what we try to do is enhance some of the things we've heard you say on a day-to-day basis about our team. There's people out there that doesn't like our team, that's complain all the time. Now we make complaints, but I try to make positive complaints about corrective criticism about what the Falcons should be doing to put them where they need to be. We're not the coach of the team. We're not the owner of the team. We're supporters. We pay whether we watch the game on TV or we pay, or go to the stadium and watch the game. We buy the team's merchandise. Not only us, but everybody that's a fan buy the team's merchandise as they support this team. But to Arthur Blank, if you hear this episode, I just want you to do the right thing. If you don't know, I would just say talk to some other some other owners in the NFL about their teams. Their problems But Dimitrov, I don't know what he's telling you, but it's not all true. It's time for him to go. It's checkout time, Mr. Dimitrov. It's checkout time. Dan Quinn, it's checkout time. It's time to go. This NFL stands for what? Not for long. Nobody stays forever. The coaches don't stay forever. The players don't stay forever. Only the owners stay until they're ready to go. It's time to shake this thing up in Atlanta. It's time to get some new coaches in here. It's time to get let's start at the top. It's time to get a new general manager in here by shaking this organization up. If I'm not mistaken, Dimitrov has been here under 3 different head coaches. And we still can't get it together. Some of the draft picks you're picking, they're okay the first year, second year maybe, but they're not what we need. We got to get a coach in here. And again, the move you made with Sanu was great. But as of right now, in my opinion, don't make any more moves. Let the new organization come in. Let the new general manager, the new head coach come in and find out who they want on their team, what it's going to take to turn this team around. Let them do it. But I tell you, Eddie, I don't know, man.
Yes, sir.
I just got to pause for a second. Say a word for the Falcons and the Saints. I said enough about that, but I'm going to say it, ladies, folks. Tune in this Sunday. I want everybody that's a Falcons fan out there and believe in the Atlanta Falcons that's been with them for years, like big time, like myself. Support your team, guys. If you don't go to the game, turn the TV on, watch those guys. Pull those Falcons. I got to believe it. I believe that you guys might be surprised this Sunday. And if not, continue to watch. Continue to pull. Because at some point in time, we're going to get this thing together. And the Atlanta Falcons are going to be what you expect them to be. That's all I got. Big time. That's all I got. Go Falcons. Big time.
All right now.
All right.
All right.
And we out, folks. The mic is hot. See you when I see you.